Good morning, children. I hope you are quite well. After long interval, we are again starting first slide. In the month of April and May, we have completed chapter 1, 2, poems, supplementary sub-chapters also. Now I am again revising chapter 1, first slide. First of all, you are also informed by CBSE norms, but I want to inform you about the latest CBSE syllabus, what is given, what you have to face in this examination 2020. I want to focus these chapters. Students, look at the blackboard. Deleted chapters are written. Chapter number 1, how to tell wild animals. This is cancelled. These 5 chapters are not in the course. Chapter number 1 is how to tell wild animals. This is a poem. This is deleted. It is not in your course. Chapter number 2, the trees. The trees is also a poem. It is also deleted. Chapter number 3, mixing the order. This is chapter number 7. It is also deleted. Chapter number 4, fog is also a poem. It is also deleted. And chapter number 5, from any gallery. It is also a chapter, and you have not to read in this English first slide. Now I am going to, now your course, your syllabus is limited. If you do hard work, you will get good marks. Now I am going to start first chapter. First chapter is a letter to God. This is yes, children. I am going to start first chapter of first slide. Your first chapter is I have written on the blackboard. You can see very clearly a letter to God. A letter to God is a chapter, and it is written by G.L. Prentice. I want to tell you about this chapter. A letter to God has extreme faith in God. I want to focus about the main characters I have also written. Once again, Lencho. This is underlined, I have underlined word Lencho. Lencho is main characters in this chapter, and this is the whole and soul of the chapter. We have also discussed about the chapter. What kind of person? First of all, I want to tell you about the question. I want to tell you about the statements about this chapter. Who is Lencho? What do you know about Lencho? Students, Lencho is poor person, but he is hardworking farmer. He is laborious. He has children, and he has also wife, and he lived on the valley. And he hoped a little shower or rain, but the rain transformed into a heavy rain, thunderstorm. And when it started drizzling and it has transformed into heavy rain, his heart was full of very sadness. He became very unhappy because he thought that his crops were totally destroyed, and he thought that my crop will totally destroyed. But Lencho hoped that this year I will get good crops, I will earn a lot of money. But heavy rain were destroyed all his crops, and his crops were totally destroyed. And he began to think about God. What should we do? Children, one thing I told you when I started the chapter, Lencho has extreme faith in God. Once again, I am revising this point because this is very important character. The whole chapter is related to main characters. One character is also postmaster, and he believed, he had extreme faith in God. I want to write this word, God. You know, God is omniscient, almighty. Children, I want to tell you about Lencho. When his crops were totally destroyed, he became very happy. He thought that in my family, my children, this year I have no crop to eat, I have no storage, no grain storage to eat, my crop will totally destroyed. How I can earn money? How I shall sow crop next year? So he came an idea. Students, listen carefully. Because one thing I told you, Lencho has extreme faith in God. So he came an idea, and next Sunday, early in the morning, he went to the post office, and he took an envelope, and he took a blank paper, and he know how to read and write. He was not illiterate, he was literate. He knew how to read and write. So he wrote a letter to God, and Lencho started a plain paper. Lencho took a plain paper and he started. So he wrote a letter to God because he had extreme faith in God, and he took a plain paper, a proceed, and he sat near the table and he started writing. One thing, he had no belief on any person because only things he had extreme faith in God. So he wrote a letter to God and he addressed God. I also wrote on the blackboard, you can see. When he completed his letter, out of the envelope, he wrote God. And he sent the letter. He demanded, I am writing this portion, this topic on the blackboard, you can also see. He demanded students 100 pesos. He wrote 100 pesos. God, I needed 100 pesos. If you give me 100 pesos, then I can again start my crop and my crop will grow very easily. So he wrote a letter to God. The employees of post office, when he saw his activities, they laughed at him. Then the postmaster said that, why are you laughing? Then the employee said, sir, what kind of stupid person? He is writing a letter to God. Who is God, sir? We also believe in God, but God will send money. The postmaster was a gentle person. He was good and kind-hearted person. So he called all his employees, please come here. If you cannot cooperate, if you cannot contribute, you cannot love any other person. He said that I am contributing, I am giving some money of my salary. You can give me. All the employees of post office, sir, I can also help. So Lencho demanded 100 pesos in the first letter, and the postmaster took the letter and he took in the mailbox. So next day, 2 and 3 days passed, and Lencho came after 3 and 4 days. The letter received. The postmaster said that this is your letter and you can check it. When the Lencho opened the letter, he opened the letter and he got only 70 pesos, and he demanded 100 pesos, but he got only 70 pesos. When he got 70 pesos, he became very angry. I demanded 100 pesos. God can't do this. He said that, this is the misactivities of the employees of the post office. God is very honest person. God is great. God can't do that. So he demanded 100 pesos, but he got 70 pesos. He said that, sir, give me one blank paper. I will write second letter to God. We have discussed this chapter very clearly. Once again, I am revising. So he wrote a second letter to God, but he got only 70 pesos, and he wrote a letter to the rest of money, 30 pesos. He said, these activities are done by the post office employees because these are not honest. These are not, they are dishonest person. So Lencho wrote a second letter to God, and he received only 70 pesos, and he wrote second letter to God for the rest of money, 30 pesos. After some time, after few days had passed, and once again he came at the post office and he demanded, sir, is there any letter for me? He said, children, just I am concising, I am summarizing the chapter. So he wrote a second letter to God for the rest of 30 pages, and he wrote second letter to God. Children, in this chapter we can see what kind of faith, what kind of trust, belief Lencho's in God. At last we can see that Lencho had extreme faith in God, and he said that he wrote in the second letter, God, at this time don't send the money, don't send the rest of money through the mailbox, because the employees of post office are bunch of crooks. They are dishonest. So please send the money through the mail, through my address. So children, this is the complete summary of the chapter, and I hope you will revise, you will understand very clearly, and I hope you take care of yourself and your family. Thank you. Next chapter, next video.